Many of us think of 56K as the pinnacle of the dial-up era, a time when the world was on the cusp of broadband, when the internet fervor was near its peak. But what if we told you there was something even better? Today on the Serial Port, we're pushing the boundary to see exactly how far we can take dial-up, and you won't believe what we're able to achieve. In 2024, the United States FCC reassessed its definition of broadband, which it now defines as having a download speed of 100 megabits per second. But it obviously wasn't always this high. Back in the year 2000, it was defined as having a download speed of just 200 kilobits a second, literally 500 times slower. And back then, the absolute ceiling of dial-up connections was 56K or 56 kilobits a second, well short of that standard of broadband. So how did we tolerate such ridiculously slow speeds back then? And the answer, of course, is that the internet was simply a different place. Loading a website today can spawn hundreds, if not thousands of requests, and anyone who's tried to browse the modern internet with a dial-up connection knows it's basically impossible. But back at the turn of the millennium, websites were relatively simple. Sites were text-driven, images were in low resolution and highly compressed, and all of the trackers, JavaScript libraries, and so on were orders of magnitude fewer in quantity. And of course, there were bandwidth hogs like Macromedia Shockwave and who can forget Java applets, but dial-up was actually usable for this text-heavy internet. Barely. Loading a website such as Yahoo could take 5 to 10 seconds, and you just have to be patient, watching the web browser downloading and rendering content in real time. Waiting back then was simply a fact of life. Downloading a single MP3 meant tying up your phone line for 10 to 20 minutes, and an entire album could take most of a day. And this created an insatiable demand for bandwidth. While ISDN saw significant adoption in some countries, its speed of just 128 kilobits a second fell short of broadband even back then. And with the web still rapidly growing, the advent of services like Napster and streaming video beginning to take hold, there was a clear need for broadband technology to replace dial-up modems. But development of this was naturally slower than demand. Luckily though, there was a technology called a multi-link PPP or point-to-point protocol. Originally conceived of in 1994, it added the ability to bond multiple connections, like two 56K modems for example, combining their respective bandwidths to create one logical pipe. This meant that if you had more than one phone line and modem, you could easily double your connection speed. Some manufacturers even created multi-modem solutions, like Diamond Multimedia's Shotgun, a PCI card with two onboard modems that could be bonded together using multi-link PPP. But obviously, at a minimum, you would need two phone lines and an ISP willing to support it. So multi-link PPP never really saw widespread use for dial-up. But this led to a question. Practicality aside, using multi-link, how many modems could you actually use at the same time? With our ISP now supporting digital modems, we now have the equipment to support multi-link PPP. And the multi-link standards don't mention any type of limit, and we couldn't find any practical limits mentioned anywhere. So we want to find out. And while getting a whole bunch of modems connected together would be amazing, we want to be able to demonstrate the speed some way. So why don't we try streaming YouTube over dial-up? Let's figure out if it's even theoretically possible. YouTube's lowest desktop quality is 240p or 426 by 240, while their lowest mobile quality is 144p or 256 by 144. Using YTDLP, we can download our recent Windows 95 dial-up video to see the file sizes and determine how fast of a connection we need to stream without buffering. So to find required bits per second, we simply divide by the length of the video, which is 768 seconds. This gives us 182,286 bits per second. There's of course going to be some additional overhead, so let's just round up to 200 kilobits per second. This is roughly equivalent to 4 56K modems. At 144p, the requirements aren't quite as heavy, as we can get away with approximately 175 kbps or 3.5 56K modems. But this is completely theoretical. We won't know if it's actually possible until we try. Before we get started on the experiment though, we need to get some hardware installed in the lab. Mark set up the Cisco IAD, which is the voice over IP gateway that will generate the analog phone lines that the modems will connect to.
So put the panel down here or above?
Those phone lines are attached to this patch panel through a Cat3 25 pair cable terminated with the chunky RJ21. And finally, we have a T1 connection between the IAD and the total control. With our infrastructure in place, we can turn to our client PC. We always like to keep things as authentic as possible, so we selected an IBM NetVista A21i from 2001. Featuring Windows ME, it was released just before the broadband craze started to take hold, and was designed to be an internet cruising powerhouse. Microsoft's multi-link PPP support didn't arrive until the ISDN Accelerator Pack for Windows 95, and it had native support in Windows 98. Neither of us had experience with Windows ME's implementation of it, so we first verified that both our internal 56K modem and an external USR courier connected over serial could successfully connect to the ISP. See what we're at. 44K.
Not bad.
Nice. With that successful, we wanted to try our first multi-link connection. We thought both modems would connect simultaneously, but Windows ME dials one at a time. It's going. Yes. Whoa.
Oh,
we're so
hell
close
yeah,
to 100K.
That's awesome.
After several attempts, we finally got our first successful multi-link connection. We're now downloading at over 10 kilobytes a second. Not too shabby, but a far cry from our aspirations. To connect more modems, we need more serial ports, and that's going to require an expansion card. We grabbed the Equinox multi-port card from our bowling PC, as it supports 8 additional serial ports, perfect for our needs. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find the ME-compatible driver, but it was compatible with Windows 2000. But even with some kernel hacks, we couldn't get a browser capable of loading YouTube loaded onto the system. Beaten but not defeated, we decided to break our rule and use slightly newer hardware. We installed the Equinox card in an IBM ThinkCenter A50 from 2004. This is still somewhat era appropriate, as dial-up was still raging during this time, and broadband was only just beginning to become widespread. It has Windows XP installed, giving us plenty of options for browsers and perhaps even better multi-link PPP support. We're going to need some more modems though. We need more. Okay, maybe one more. With 14 modems at our disposal now, we needed a way to power them all. I started wiring up DC barrel jack pigtails to a 12-volt power supply to test each modem. The first two worked great, but then...
Oh no. What? No.
It turns out the later Courier models use a 2.5mm center pin, whereas the pigtails we had only fit 2.1mm pins. But thankfully, the Courier modems are very flexible when it comes to power input. They actually accept both AC and DC input with a fairly wide range of voltages. We had a box of 16-volt AC transformers that were used with microcom modems, and as luck would have it, they worked perfectly with just one not powering on. With that sorted, Mark worked on getting the telephone infrastructure in place, constructing cables and testing each line on the IAD to make sure we had dial tone on each. We also need some more serial cables. We'll also need some more serial ports, so we installed another Equinox serial expansion card in the IBM. But that's when we noticed that the COM ports were being duplicated. Each card added 8 COM ports starting at port 3, creating duplicates.
What the
We have, yeah.
How's that gonna work?
We have a bunch. This ended up causing issues when trying to dial out from the modems. Trying to set the COM port starting point also ended in failure, as the configuration window would simply lock up every time we tried to submit the changes. We nearly gave up at this point, but then we remembered we had another card, but this one was from Digi. It was only 4 port, but it would give us close to our maximum number of modems. Oh, I found it. Oh, okay. When the card was detected, we actually got an option of what COM port to start from. So we selected COM port 11, enabling the already installed Equinox card to work at its default starting point of COM 3. Right? Yeah, okay. That's what we need.
Bravo.
Okay, so we should have, yes, so COM 11 through 14. And so if I re-enable this, and then it should start adding all of these. Okay, I think that's it. So we have COM 3 through COM 14. So I think we're ready. And now we have 13 COM ports, including the one integrated on the motherboard. Yeah, so we're at COM 3 and COM 11.
Yes.
And unlike in Windows ME, the modems are dialed simultaneously in XP. What is this going to be like with 10 modems? It's going to be glorious.
It's gonna be insane.
Bundling lines. Wow, 94.6.
Awesome.
And after verifying we had a working setup on both cards, it was time to get serious.
I guess I was just thinking about labeling the modem so we know which port is which, but I'll just try to do it in a logical order.
Okay. Ready to give it a shot?
Go.
So it looks like one modem is dialing, but we're not hearing anything out of its speaker.
Is there a dip switch to turn off the...
There might be. Let's see how many we get connected, though. Yeah, just one. Our first test was with 4 modems. We immediately ran into some issues, though, from no dial tone to unexplainable hardware problems. This ended up being a good test, though, as we figured out we should set the dip switches on the bottom of each modem identically, since they were almost all set differently from one another.
Is the next one down?
Yeah, 5 is down.
And 6 is down?
Yes, 6 is down.
It's easier for me to do the 2 at once.
Okay.
I'm asking.
The telephone jacks on the couriers also seemed pretty finicky, so we needed to re-terminate a few to get solid connections.
Oh!
Come on, come on. Oh no. I wonder if the PM3 doesn't like it. Oh. We got one drop. Oh, what is that? We successfully get a 3 modem call, with one modem still being a little finicky. Buoyed by that success, we wanted to push the envelope even more, so we set up 4 more modems, giving us 8 total. We were still having some connection issues, but we were able to get 5 modems connected in one go, giving us just over 200 kilobits a second, meaning we had finally achieved broadband speeds. Well, back in 2000 at least. Oh, we're getting slow.
This is worse.
This is worse than it was before.
Yeah, we were solid at like 19.
And that's when we witnessed the genius of multi-link PPP. XP allowed us to suspend or resume connections, so instead of redialing all of the modems, we could selectively redial the ones that didn't connect. Oh.
Alright, now that...
So we got 7 though.
Oh, we lost one?
Yeah. I don't understand. And then... Okay, I think we're ready. Whoa, we're over 300 already.
Wow.
Yeah, let's see what the... Connected at over 340 kilobits a second, we were well into broadband territory, but we weren't done. I would say if we got 2 more, let's just add 2 more. We have to make a couple more phone lines, right? We wanted to push it as far as we could.
Orange is good.
So we ended up connecting 4 more modems to fully utilize both serial expansion cards, needing to source a couple of multi-tech modems as we actually ran out of working couriers. $668K. We did it. We successfully bonded 12 dial-up modems together using multi-link PPP to reach an astonishing 668 kilobits per second. But we still had one goal left. Okay, so we want to scroll down here and let's see, what video do we want to watch?
A dial-up video.
Yeah, definitely. Let's watch the Windows 95 anniversary.
Is your computer max? Is the computer CPU usage high? Isn't that what that means?
Whoa!
It works.
We're streaming YouTube on dial-up. And indeed, yes, you can watch YouTube over dial-up. So today is the day.
Oh my gosh.
It's August 24th, and we're celebrating the 30th year anniversary.
It hasn't
of
buffered
Microsoft
yet.
Windows 95.
No buffering.
30 years ago, there were... And while wrangling 12 external modems on our Windows PC was pretty tricky with various issues, the ISP side of the equation was actually a lot easier. It simply just worked with no apparent limit in sight. Dialing into the total control, this is the first time we've seen so many LEDs on the quad modem cards. It's remarkable to be able to see the activity here, just like someone could have seen in the back room of a mom and pop ISP 30 years ago. And we also have a Livingston Portmaster 3 online for our ISP, which we often prefer since it is much quieter than the total control. While it doesn't have any LEDs on the chassis, we can see the dial-in modem assault in the PM Vision application. It's hard to describe exactly how thrilling this all was. This felt like the absolute perfect homage to multi-link PPP and the dial-up modem, pushing these technologies farther than we ever thought possible. And with this experiment, have we actually set a record? We looked and even checked the Guinness Book of Records and couldn't find any accounts of more than 4 modems in use. So for now, we're pretty proud of this achievement, and we haven't yet reached a limit of how far this could go. So until then, thanks for watching the Serial Port, and we'll see you next time.